Brazil finished 5th in World Cup qualifying. 6 losses in 18 games. Argentina beat them at the Maracana. Bolivia beat them at altitude. Paraguay exposed them for having no ideas at all. And somehow, that's the best news Brazilian football has had in years. Because buried inside that disaster of a campaign is a roster that might be the scariest Brazil side since 2002. And the man brought in to fix it isn't Brazilian at all. His name is Carlo Ancelotti. 5 Champions League titles in Italy, England, France, Germany, and Spain. Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid. The most decorated club manager alive. Now in charge of a national team that hasn't lifted the World Cup since 2002. Think about that for a second. Brazil, the only country to play in every World Cup, 5-time champions, the nation that turned this tournament into theirs, went out and hired a European to beat the Europeans? That's not normal. That's desperation dressed up as ambition. Brazil have never stopped producing talent. What they stopped producing was complete teams. 2006, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Ronaldo, Adriano, terrifying on paper. France dismantled them in the quarterfinal with nothing but organization. 2010, Dunga built a more disciplined side. The Netherlands cracked them open emotionally in one half. 2014, home World Cup. Neymar injured, Thiago Silva suspended. 7-1. Germany, a wound that still hasn't closed. 2018, Belgium picked them apart on the counter. 2022, Neymar scored one of the great Brazilian goals of the modern era against Croatia. They still lost on penalties after losing control of extra time. Same pattern. Every time. Brazil had something, never everything. A star wins you a moment. A tournament team manages pressure, controls rhythm, and knows how to suffer without falling apart. Brazil have had the first thing for 2 decades, not the second. Ancelotti's gift has never been forcing players into a system. It's finding the system that's already inside the players he has. At Milan, he built a narrow diamond around Pirlo and Kaká. At Madrid, he gave Cristiano freedom on the left, turned Di Maria into a hybrid, made Benzema the connector. Then years later, built a completely different Madrid around transitions and individual brilliance. Brazil didn't need a rebuild. They needed an organizer. The talent was already there. For 20 years, Brazil's attack lived and died with Neymar. Fit Neymar? Brazil clicked. Injured Neymar? Brazil had good players and no identity. This squad doesn't have that problem. Vinicius Jr. entering his prime, and he brings what every defense dreads: open field destruction. Last Champions League season, 5 goals, 8 assists, one of the competition's most productive attackers. He doesn't need Brazil to dominate possession. He needs one stretched fullback, one mistake. Raphinha, coming off another huge season at Barcelona, and he's the balance Vinicius can't provide alone. Presses, cuts inside, attacks the far post, helps the whole front line breathe without collapsing into 2 luxury wingers chasing the same space. Matheus Cunha, maybe the most underrated piece on the entire roster. 10 goals, 2 assists for Manchester United doesn't even explain it. He drops into midfield, holds the ball under pressure, links attacks when everything else turns messy. In a front line full of runners, he's the connector. Martinelli, the weapon tired legs hate. Direct, fast, doesn't need the game slowed down. Comes off the bench in the 70th minute and the pitch suddenly feels 20 yards longer. Estevao, 19 years old, 5 goals and 7 assists on loan in Europe. Still raw, but raw is dangerous in tournament football because defenders prepare for patterns and teenagers don't play patterns. Igor Jesus, 22 league goals last season. Brazil's plan B when the combinations stop working. A target man, a body to compete for first contact when the game needs to get ugly. Neymar, 34, coming off a calf injury, and for the first time in his career, he doesn't have to be the whole story. If he's fit, he's the detail that turns a dangerous attack into a decisive one. Nothing more. And that's exactly why he might matter more than ever. 8 different ways to hurt you. On paper, that's terrifying. Here's the problem. The fullbacks aren't elite. Danilo, Alexandro, Wesley, experienced but not the explosive modern fullbacks Brazil used to produce. Against France, England, Spain, Portugal, Argentina, wide areas decide knockout games. If Brazil's fullbacks push too high, the center backs get dragged wide. If they sit deep, the attack loses width. Transitions are the real risk. 4 attackers high up the pitch means a long way back when the ball is lost. Casemiro is still excellent at reading danger, but he's 34, and he can't be responsible for covering every yard of open grass alone. There's no controller in midfield. No Modric, no Rodri. Against teams that press relentlessly, that's a problem with no easy fix. So picture the 5 teams standing between Brazil and the final. Spain will starve them of the ball. France will let them have it and punish every mistake. England will match the physicality and dominate set pieces. Portugal will overload midfield. Argentina will grind the game into nothing and wait. Brazil's attack can hurt every one of those teams. The question is whether they can control enough of the match to make that attack count. This is the tension. The ceiling is the highest in the tournament. The margins are razor thin. If Vinicius is breaking lines, Raphinha is pressing and cutting inside, Cunha is linking play, Martinelli is running at exhausted defenders, Esteban is doing something nobody scouted for, and Neymar is fit enough to be the final piece, Brazil can beat anyone. If Ancelotti can't find balance fast enough with a squad full of new relationships, the same chaos that makes them dangerous becomes the reason they go home in the quarterfinals. Again. 24 years of unfinished business. A squad that looks like a 5-star attack with no safety net. The rest of the world sees Brazil's flaws. Ancelotti sees options. And if he turns those options into a real team, the country that made the World Cup beautiful for generations might finally be ready to take it back.
La Federación de Brasil, de la Seleção, es un lugar muy bonito, está todo bien organizado, perfecto, para entrenarse bien, para descansar, para recuperar. Está todo muy bien organizado. No solo esto, no solo el centro de entrenamiento, también las oficinas de la Federación. Ha sido un lugar bonito, el museo. Entonces hay mucha historia y ojalá podamos continuar esta historia.